Get the Intel, the podcast meant for those of us trying to find out what the hell is going on in the field. Here, we discuss tools, techniques, and approaches that you can implement to streamline operations and let you focus on your craft.
Hello, it's Chad Gill here. I'm the host of the Get the Intel podcast, where I talk with leaders in contracting, management, and anyone helping us do business better. So this episode is brought to you by Workforce Recon. Workforce Recon is a project tracking software that connects the office to the field crews. Their app Field Recon is built with a field-first mentality. Developed by contractors for contractors, it includes time and asset tracking, messaging, job documentation, and scheduling all in one place so you can see what's going on in the field. So if you're tired of finding out what happened days later, check us out at workforcerecon.com and see your operations in real time. So today I am being joined by Kate Winkler, the CEO for Ruby.com. She has guided large and small businesses throughout her 25 years in technology sector, has helped more than 75 companies capture over $4 billion in enterprise value, which is awesome. She's also the first CEO to take over leadership from the founder of Ruby, and they're based out of Portland. And so thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. And, I look forward to talking to you about this virtual shift that you guys made.
Thank you so much, Chad. Really appreciate you having me. And it's funny because today is one of my first days in the office in almost 2.5 years. And but I actually work remote, as do just about, I would say 99% of our 800 employees. So while we're headquartered in Portland, we're in about 13 states now across the country, working in living rooms and garages and attics and in all kinds of places.
So if somebody doesn't know, what is the Ruby? I mean, it's an answering service, but it's much more than that.
It is. So what Ruby does, we provide live virtual call answering and chat answering services for small businesses. But we do it with a focus on two core things. First is we know how busy small business owners are. So your time in the day really matters. So we step in and become that front end brand for you because your reputation matters as well. Yes. And we commit to answering calls as quickly as we can. So our average answer time for either a call or a chat is about 6 seconds. So it's just about one ring cycle. So super fast. Because if you think about what happens is if we don't get them fast, you actually get an abandon. So if you have an answer speed of 30 seconds, so you let it ring 4 or 5 times, you're going to miss 25% of all of your inbound interactions. So our goal is we've got to help our small businesses capture every single opportunity that they can. But then more importantly is once we get them on the line, whichever channel it might be, is we have to establish trust because our small business customers, we have 14,000 customers. They have given us their brand and entrusted us with their brand to help them build their reputation, to help them win new business, to help them garner repeat business. And so we take that job very, very seriously. So our team goes through a ton of training to really understand how to navigate any and every conversation that's out there. So Ruby's been in business for 19 years, and we have answered over 100 million interactions on both the telephone and chat.
Golly, I wanted to talk to you about going virtual and stuff like that, but you should totally have a whole nother episode where you want an example of when somebody asks you what your company does, having a ready answer. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. So obviously passionate about Ruby, very passionate, very committed to it. And I understand, I've heard you speak before and you were saying that it's actually the passion about Ruby that they called you looking to take over. And you were just like, I'll help you find somebody. And they're like, no, we want you, which is super. It's just a great way to get into a company. I think that's fantastic.
You know, the funny thing about that is I wasn't looking for a job, but Ruby is probably, and I really ended up changing careers going back to running businesses. I had been doing a lot of consulting with helping businesses get financing and funding and really helping them grow. And Ruby is probably the only business that could have gotten me back into the CEO seat to say, I really am passionate about this. And I think we're seeing a lot of it these days that folks, particularly with the pandemic, we're reevaluating the things that are important to us, and doing something that we love matters. And so I feel like I hit the work jackpot being able to come to Ruby.
Perfect. So I wanted to kind of talk about virtual from two angles. One is, did you see so COVID changed tons of things for everybody. You're almost tired of hearing about what COVID did, but it's just hard to avoid it. But it changed a lot of things. Did you see that your customers, that you had a lot of new customers who were like, hey, I'm gonna be able to outsource something like this to a company like Ruby? Was there an influx of customers? And then we'll talk about the employees afterwards.
Yes, we did. Now, interestingly enough, what happened with the pandemic was a couple of things. First, with shelter in place, there were a lot of businesses that just didn't know what to do. They were immediately shut down. It could have been 30 days, it could have been 60, 90, et cetera. And nobody was answering the phone. And then they had to communicate, where are my employees? How do I get in touch with them? And now all of a sudden we had mobile phones and we were calling, and now you lack visibility in how is all the work getting done? And
Right.
So we saw this influx of sectors and segments that we didn't typically work with. Ruby's history really was founded in supporting attorneys and financial service companies. Our fastest growing segment right now is home services, anything from construction to manufacturing to plumbing, electricians, roofers, you name it. Because now, as you think about the value of time as well, we're billing by the hour or we're billing by project, and having more time in the day really matters. And so where Ruby comes in is we step in what used to be a business case of, oh, well, I'll just have you be my shared virtual receptionist because maybe I'm a business that's only 3 employees and I can't afford a receptionist. It's very quickly become, I need you to be available 24/7 because work gets done 24/7 now. We have more calls at 7 p.m. than we do at 9 a.m. on most days. And we have more calls on Saturday than we've ever had before. So the needs of our customers have changed significantly since the pandemic, and their needs have gotten very complex. So not only are they looking to see how is work getting done, where are employees, I need shared services, I need after hours calling, I need all of these different things, that the complexity of the problems that we're solving have become bigger and bigger every day. But fortunately, Ruby thrives with complexity. We actually wrote our own technology that we run on our back end that really helps us navigate all of the complexities for our clients. It allows us to create very complex interactions so that every single set of call or chat handling instructions are unique for all 14,000 customers. So we're really representing you and your brand versus just saying, okay, I can take a message, or I can, which is what you would typically get with a basic answering service. So we do things like complex intake forms, we do scheduling, we do a lot of outbound calling, and the list of all the services we provide has expanded very significantly since the pandemic started.
So when you were doing this in the beginning, you had everybody in office. You could be hands-on. You could check it. You could see it. When you suddenly, how do you feel, and a lot of people talk about virtual work and stuff like that, but just in an all honesty thing, if you're a company owner, how do you or a CEO, how do you look at it and say, how do I know the work is getting done? How do I know you're there? How do you do that without becoming Big Brother?
It was really hard because I will tell you, effectively Ruby has massive call centers. So we have 800 people, and being able, having a controlled environment of the same equipment and noise canceling headsets and all the tools and equipment that everyone needs, it really was designed. Our business model was designed to be in an office. We had never contemplated working from home. And so everyone had a desktop computer and 2 monitors. And then literally within 10 days, we just said, we have to get 800 people and all this equipment to their house and hope their internet works and consider complexities that most small business owners weren't prepared for, going, wow, we're a HIPAA certified business. We have very sensitive information. We have to protect our customers' information. So how do we have VPN connectivity to our services? And how do we have encryption of data moving back and forth? And how do we have multi-factor authentication? Because if I have somebody working in a living room and they have roommates, your information and your privacy is critical. So how do we have two-factor authentication, automated timeouts of systems? And we had to invest massively into reconfiguring how we work to enable secure work from home. Now, the secondary, we hope everyone actually works at home. Fortunately, we're a big data analytics company, so we have the visibility to really see, okay, everyone's logged in when they said they were going to, and we've had to invest in some new technologies just for instance, how do we manage and monitor quality of our service delivery? So not only speed to answer and average handle time, which are efficiency metrics, but for us, because brand is so important for our customers, quality really matters. And so how do we do sit withs when I'm in, Portland and somebody else is in suburban Washington someplace? And so a lot of investment had to go into place there. But initially, it was a lot of trust on, let's just hope everyone shows up to do the right thing, which probably brings me to the thing that I think really ensured and gave me confidence that it would, which is purpose. So everything that Ruby does, we talk every day about the problems that we help our small businesses solve and how critical the small business is to our community. It really is the heart and soul of our local economy. And it's really where all of our work gets done. And so we share stories all the time about how important our small businesses are, how we help them. Our customers love to say, oh my gosh, you helped me, Ruby, do the following. And we send those all around and we high five each other. And so as an organization, we have this purpose and vision and mission that really is truly committed to helping small businesses. So when we had to convert our business to be work from home, the thing that gave me the confidence that we could not only do it quickly, but do it well was purpose, because that was the one thing that said, if I don't do this, I'm not helping a small business, and this is when they need us the most. And that purpose and that kind of North Star is what kept us unbelievably aligned to do an infrastructure overhaul, but yet get quality and yet get timeliness. We had no erosion in service quality in transitioning everyone from home. We'd have an occasional dog bark. We said, but if that's our quality problem, I'm like, that's okay. We'll invest in noise canceling headsets and that'll be okay.
Yeah. No, and that makes me look at my dog in the corner now. I'm like, oh, don't bark. But it's so, how do you do that and keep that team culture? Because everybody, culture beats everything. But, how do you high five somebody, 300 miles away and know that know that it's working? How do you celebrate birthdays? How do you, know their kids? I mean, did you have to put in, is that part of the data analytics? Like, how do you make sure that your team is close?
Yeah. So we invested a ton in community building technology as well. And so I would start with, Ruby is always, anything we did in the office, we re-envisioned it for at home and said, there has to be a tool. So everyone's work anniversary, we call it their Rubyversary. We said, how do we get that information automated where we can proactively notify everyone of their Rubyversary? And how do we create ways to celebrate those Rubyversaries? So not only did we very quickly move our community, we're a Microsoft platform. So we invested in Yammer and said, how do we create interest groups where folks can come in and say, I am the Star Wars group versus the Marvel group, and I'm into home brewing beer, and I'm into these things, where we can give folks an opportunity to connect with their Ruby community so that when things like Rubyversaries happen, we actually have a forum to celebrate them. And not only that, but we do a lot of things in terms of recognition. So we invested in a platform called Fond, which is all around celebrating our core values. So when I talk about purpose, it's really vision, mission, and core values. And so every week we celebrate our core values and we nominate our peers and one another for, I think you did a great job this month showing how you cultivate growth or showing how you fostered happiness for someone. and we nominate and they earn points. And so they can go in and redeem fund points for gift certificates or gift cards, or they can get extra paid time off, or they can donate to a local charity. So we found a way to try and allow individuals to engage with Ruby, engage in our purpose, engage with one another through tools, but in a way that was genuine to them. So, and I think that's the one thing that we found is absolutely critical, because otherwise it can feel a little bit formulaic. The only way you can do things is this way. And we provide a lot of time for team meetings and one-on-ones and time to connect. So we have tons of virtual happy hours, and we celebrate and do cookie making, where we literally have teams of folks that get on a massive Teams meeting, and we have cookie decorating contests, and everyone shows all of their cookies and things of that nature. And those are probably, I would just say, the community things, but there are also a lot of investments we made in checking in on people's well-being. I think I was very surprised at just how the pandemic and really just general dynamics of the last couple of years have impacted mental health. So we've invested heavily in mental health resources and a lot of tools around checking in on our staff on a regular basis. So we have Ask Me Anything forums where you can submit an anonymous question like, hey, what's going on? To office hours. I routinely have office hours. So anyone who wants to meet with me in the company is welcome to get on my schedule during office hours. And we even do surveys to say, hey, how is our baseline doing? How are we feeling about where the organization's going, how we're investing in people? So it was a pretty big conversion of all the things that we used to do in the office to and typically in a live meeting into a lot of investments in tools.
Yeah, and that's what gets me is I keep walking around thinking I'm just one app away from being successful. I'm like, this would be perfect. This ad, just an app for that will get me through this. And sometimes there is. I mean, it's there's a tool that does work. Is there like a favorite one? I saw that you spoke of the Fawn, which is awesome. That's like employee recognition and stuff like that. I think that's a great idea too. Is there any others where you're like, oh man, this for sure?
The one thing I would say that I love the most is Yammer, because it enables folks to find connectivity with one another. So again, I'm part of the Ruby cooking community. And one of the things that is great about that community is we're all not only sharing recipes and stuff, but it's focused on being busy. So I'm like, all these great, here's a wonderful Instapot recipe because you're working from home, but your house is going to smell great and you don't have to worry about doing a ton of preparation. And so it's all that shared ideas. And of course, I'm also a big Marvel fan. So we all get super jazzed when there's a new Marvel series coming out and talking about it. And very often we'll argue over, is Star Wars better than Marvel? But those are those kind of almost that recreation of the water cooler chat that used to happen in the office. And it gives you the ability to still have that dynamic, but it allows you to engage as often as you want to engage or in the content that you want to engage in.
That's a good idea too. I mean, we do a product called Chatter, it's sort of similar like that, but same idea. I know it's important. It's funny when you were in the office and you saw everybody hanging out around the water cooler. You're like, that's great. You guys got to get back to work. And now everybody's at work, and you're like, I need you to get around the water cooler a little bit. Make sure we're still connected. So the world's always changing. Is it right? Do you call it outsourcing? Do you call it virtual work? What's the right term? It seems like virtual work. It seems like we're almost going to have to start calling it something else because it's coming so prolific.
Yeah. It's, at this point, we just call it remote work. So it's, we enable folks, if they want to come into the office, they can, but it's completely at their option. And at this point, there are some, again, less than 1% of our staff has returned to work in the office. And but they've said, but I really appreciate the flexibility I have. I don't have the same commuting cost and the commuting time to get to the office. And we've gone as far as even becoming very flexible with when work gets done. So we allow our team to split their shifts so they can have breakfast with their kids and take them to school and make that soccer game that sometimes is a little bit too early in the afternoon in a normal business day. And so those are the things that we have found. Employee satisfaction has gone up significantly. And interestingly enough, commitment and connection to purpose has stayed at its all-time high because we realized that investment in community and purpose and passion and culture, that was really the glue that holds everything together. And so if we could get that piece right, then everything else was just goodness, because it was actually really empowering the employee to work and get work done where it best suited them. And we had an unusual benefit too, because it allowed us to recruit just about anywhere. So where we used to have very constrained hiring markets, we don't actually have that anymore. So for the benefit of our customers, it's allowed us to really hire best employee regardless of location, while being able to give, again, complete flexibility in where and how work gets done.
Yeah, I would think that for some of the remote work that we do, it gives you a very big recruiting advantage because you can find the best person that's available, and they just might not be where you are. Odds are they're not. They're spread out over the country, and there's lots of them. But combine that with the flexibility of schedule and location, and I think that would give you. I would assume that you're probably not. You're one of the companies just like, no, we're not having a hard time finding people. We're just, getting them in here fast enough, perhaps. But
Right.
to have that flexibility is fantastic. And especially if you guys move to 24/7, now you got somebody who wants to work a midnight shift because everybody's asleep and they finally have it quiet. It makes total sense. So no, I think that's going to change a lot for companies. We, looking at what can be done remotely.
It really does. And even something as simple as 24/7 is, we used to have to heat a 40,000 square foot building for 5 people to come to work in the evening. And there are safety issues and parking and all the things that come around that as well. And to be able to enable that in a flexible environment as well, there's real value, particularly to clients that really have urgent needs for after hours support. That's been a big, big win.
And that is terrific. You forget about the hard assets, the buildings and the stuff. People are selling buildings, they're closing offices, they're doing stuff like that because everybody's starting to work from them. They're changing the houses they're building around here. The apartments now are 2 bedrooms, and they were building 3 bedrooms. Now they're building 2 bedrooms with an office because people are working from the offices so much. But so when you're working like that, when you're talking to a potential customer who's saying, hey, I'm looking at outsourcing something like, reception or call taking or messaging and stuff like that. And they say, well, you're taking this employee out of my company. They feel a little bit of guilt about it or something like that. Do you run into that much, or is it mostly just, I've got more than I can get done and I can't get people in here?
There are a lot of cases we do have to help our customers work through that, but we do it in a way that is about solving the problem, because usually if they're considering outsourcing, it's either a cost problem or, more importantly, it's availability. You have one person that can cover business hours and they're sick, and now you have no coverage. And so it really is, let's talk through what is the business problem you're trying to solve. And then you realize so Ruby has 800 people that are going to always be there 24/7. And it's probably going to actually cost me significantly less than how I do it today. And I'm going to have more data and visibility into how my work is getting done. And when you flip that conversation, it's like, oh, this is the right decision. And it makes it not a personal decision, because it is a very, very hard decision. And what we try to guide our customers to as well is, the problem that you have today might not be the problem that you have in 12 months, because depending on where you are in your maturity curve as a business, if you're a brand new startup and really your goal is to really establish your business, and you've got to be out delivering product to your customers for the 8 hours of the business day that are there, and you can't answer your phone, every single one of those leads that's coming in that's keeping you open in that first critical year really, really, really matter. And so we spend a lot of time with our customers talking about, what is that life cycle? Do they even want to grow? Some businesses want to be run because I just want to sustain a lifestyle. I went and started my own business because I didn't want to work 14 hours a day anymore. And so we spend quite a bit of time designing solutions with our customers for where they are at a given point in time, but more importantly, working with them in changing their configuration and changing their business and giving them and guiding them. Okay, we see you must have done a big marketing campaign and we're seeing consistent volume and velocity, and we notice we're not doing intake and triaging for you. Let's talk about that. Is that something we can help you with? Because as your business is maturing, we think we can take more time off your plate. And this is what we're here for. So a lot of those conversations, it sounds very simple about, do you need a receptionist? Do you not? It should be that simple. But we're really trying to meet our businesses where they are, not only on their maturity curve, but what their goals are. Do they want to be a high growth business? Do they want a maintenance of a lifestyle? Is this a second job and therefore it needs to be supported as a dual stream of income? And those goals are very, very different.
Yeah, I would think that a lot of people probably just come in with I just need somebody to answer the phones because I keep getting these voicemails, and then grow into all the things that Ruby does in addition to that. And chat was something that you guys added not too long ago, I think.
Correct. Yeah.
What drove that? I'm assuming just 24/7 operation. They want, and people just want to get a quick answer.
Exactly. We started seeing a lot of our customers are in segments where a lot of their demand comes online. So it comes to their website. And so how do you help triage and capture leads on the website? So for instance, we have a lot of customers that are in heating and cooling or in orthodontia, and you go online and you're shopping for, okay, do you actually service my type of air conditioner? And you're looking for that information online. And now I can pop up with the exact same information. Instead of you having to call me, I'm already here for you. And so it's the exact same thing that we do on the phone, but we just pop up in that chat channel. And
what does chat support look like as the provider? Like, is there, how do they know? Do they just have a lot of answers available to them and they're
Yep.
and so just ready? And how do you even know where the chat's coming from? I'm telling somebody about braces. I'm telling somebody about their HVAC or.
So here's the fascinating thing. Any one of our receptionists at Ruby can answer any interaction on any channel for any client. So we don't have assigned accounts because that speed to answer and that capturing of opportunities matters the most to our small businesses. They notice a big difference immediately when they start using Ruby, going, wow, I was missing a lot of business. So we actually lean on our technology and we go through an onboarding process that we configure your interaction instructions. And so let's talk about interactions that are unique to all of the employees. Let's set up profiles for all of the employees, because some folks might work in the office, some might work from home, some might have temporary instructions because they're on vacation. And then let's go through interaction type instructions. So what happens if this is a new product inquiry? Is there a product list that I can link to automatically to say, yes, we service that particular Trane air conditioner? Or is there something about billing? Who do I route billing instructions to? Or is this a potential new customer? And therefore, my potential new customer, I want you to go through an intake form so that when I call this person back, I am ready and I can respond in the best possible way to close that piece of business. And so our technology that we wrote allows us to actually build completely unique profile instructions for every single employee, for every single customer, for every type of interaction that then are delivered in real time and billed as the interaction occurs. And so it's pretty interesting. So we can take a call for an attorney and then a chat for a party planner and then a call for an electrician, all the same person back to back to back.
That's amazing. And it is. When you sit down, I'm a big fan of documenting processes, and like I know Dee Clevitt, and we talked with her.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you're like, once you sit down and document it, you can give your best answer every time because you had plenty of time to come up with it. And there's not but so many unique situations that people are going to call and get you. Like we just ran into, because we had an answering service, and one of my friends called me while I was on vacation, but was just trying to reach me as a friend. And our poor answering service just had no idea how to handle that because he didn't want to buy anything. He just wanted to get to me. And we're like, we probably need a process for that.
Right.
But luckily I only have two friends, so it wasn't a big deal. but so it's not going to happen often. But no, that was a good deal. Well, this is fantastic. So to learn more about Ruby, ruby.com.
Yes, ruby.com.
Absolutely. So chat support and phone support, and then a lot more.
A lot more. And we live to support our small businesses.
Absolutely. Well, I certainly appreciate it, and I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. And I'm sure that you'll find your way home from the office today.
Yes, thank you.
Back to your regular location, and really appreciate you spending time with me today.
Thanks so much, Jed. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Get the Intel. We'll see you next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.